Welcome back to my series, Dance Mums Uncovered. On the show, it seems like the cast is very easily angered. But what if I told you that the producers had a lot of plans in place to get them mad each week? These plans don't excuse the horrible things that they did or said. However, it does help explain why they were in such emotional states of mind so often. Because there was more to their angry outbursts than the producers cared to show. Feel free to share your thoughts on the following evidence. First, let's look at specific triggers. Since the show's conclusion, several of the cast members have revealed that the producers knew exactly how to make each one of them angry. Holly has claimed that the producers would target things that were important to them, and Kelly added that they knew all of their worst triggers. The executive producer of Dance Mums, Jeff Collins, seems to have confirmed this during an interview. He indicated that production was well aware that it always rolled Holly up if you accused her of not prioritising Nia's education.
And sometimes the things that they thought were really important to us, it would backfire because it wasn't. Right. That wasn't the important story. This silly, innocuous thing that you think is not a big issue is a huge issue.
And they knew from each of us what our triggers were.
Absolutely.
And they pushed on that. They knew what would trigger me off. They knew what would trigger you. They knew what would trigger Melissa. And That's what they went on.
But Holly is, in most cases, unflappable. But the one thing that will rile her up is that if you in any way accuse her of not putting Nia's education at the top of the list, because Holly's a PhD, she is an educator. It's just a personal thing. It's like it cuts to the core of who she is.
Kelly felt like a horrible mother during the week that Paige forgot her solo in season 1, because she knew that there was just no way she could remember a musical theatre piece whilst dancing to music that she had only received the morning of the competition. She says that this is one of the reasons why she ended up pulling so many of her kids' solos later during the series. It clearly aggravated her when she thought her kids were being set up again, and that's probably why she was put in positions where she thought this was happening, like when Paige was given a solo the day of the season 3 recital.
And my heart was broken, and I knew it was going to be broken.
Yes.
Because I knew it was going to happen. We had to do those things knowing that our kids were being set up. That made me a horrible mother for doing.
No, it didn't make you a horrible mother. No, it didn't.
Like, remember this whenever we get a few episodes away and I'm pulling a solo. I already did this to my child once.
Yep.
I'm not going to do it again.
Abby was not safe either. She has claimed that the set was a toxic environment, with producers and mums who were always trying to rile her up. Abby says that the mums would say really hurtful things to her, and that the producers would send them in over and over to taunt her. Production clearly knew that complaining mums stirred her up, which might be why they sent mums in to talk to her so often. Kelly has recently said that she never really wanted to go down to talk to Abby, but was constantly made to do so by production.
I don't miss those producers screaming at me, getting in my ear, telling the moms to work me up. It was a very toxic environment.
And the mother's just driving you. The producers keep sending them back in and they're just gnawing at you, taunting you.
Why do you always want to go downstairs?
Because they tell me to. I would never want to go in and talk to that woman. I don't care.
Next, let's explore new dancers. The producers also knew that it really upset the mums when they brought in new dancers, and used them to make their kids look and feel bad. On the Because Mum Said So podcast, the mums explained that their kids were sabotaged when other teams, such as the select team, were brought in. Apparently the select team were given extra time to practice, better costumes, better choreography, and extra training. They have also shared that the mums were constantly asking for healthy snacks on set for their kids, because the crew got first choice for the food, leaving them with potato chips and fruit snacks. One day they walked into the dressing room to see fresh fruit. They celebrated before being told that it was actually for the select team. And despite all of this, the select mums would turn around and ask the original mums why they weren't more grateful with what they had.
Wasn't it funny when they started bringing in other kids, other dancers to compete against our kids, like, the select team and all of that, and they'd give them all the good costumes, all the good choreography, extra training.
All the time to practice, yeah.
We were in Pittsburgh, and remember, we begged for good snacks for the kids, protein snacks, healthy snacks.
They gave them potato chips, fruit snacks. I remember I said,
and we walked in the dressing room, and there was all this fresh fruit, and we were like, yay! And they're like, oh, no, that's for the other team. Remember that?
I
That
do.
was for the select team.
And the other moms would say, why don't you appreciate everything?
The mums also spoke about how hurting the kids was supposed to be off limits in their group. Jill says that they got really frustrated when guests would come in and see their kids as fair game to pick on. She really hated that being mean got them permanent spots on the team. Holly added that the editors would often not show the mean stuff that was said to them and would only show them snapping back at the new mums. Holly has shared that one of her biggest pet peeves was when new mums would come in and say that they were there because the studio provided the best training in the world. She knew that they were lying and just wanted to be on television. After all, due to the show's rigorous schedule, they never got extra training.
There were certain things I was like, I'm not going to do. I'm not going to talk about someone's kid and say something nasty about a specific child or anything like that. And I think we did a pretty good job about that. Like,
Most of us
the
did.
kids were off limits.
I agree. Right.
You know, I always thought like kids are off limits.
With us, but then they'd bring people on, and our kids were like fair game, and that I hated. You know, that always set me off. Like, who do they think they are? They have no idea what we've been through, and they think they're going to be a star or a permanent member if they do this mean stuff and talk about the kids.
But they didn't air with all the nasty stuff they said about our kids. You just got our reactions. One of the things that used to bother me, that was just like a pet peeve of mine, really had nothing to do with necessarily with production per se. When people would come to the studio with their kids and they're like, we're coming here because to learn to dance is the best place in the world. I'm like, you lie. You lie like a rug.
They never trained.
Yeah, we just thought they were fun.
Well,
They had
especially
chemistry.
since when we were on the show, we never trained.
Evidence number 3, trying to hurt the kids. Tragically, one of the most surefire ways to get the mums emotional was to hurt the kids, and the producers knew this. Melissa has revealed that one day during filming, the mums couldn't find their kids. One of the studio mums texted them that their kids had been locked in the bathroom. Jill recalls that Abby was on a rampage with one of the mums at the time, and so they hid the kids away to get more anger and hideousness out of the mums. While getting the kids to leave the room during an argument usually seemed like a very positive thing, on this occasion they were crying and holding each other on the bathroom floor.
We couldn't find our kids the one time, and one of the moms from our dance studio said, your girls are like, they locked them basically in the bathroom. And they were like crying like little kitties, like in a circle, holding each other.
Well, I know that they had hidden the kids away because they were afraid for them to see what Abby was going to do to one of the moms. We were different when we were in front of our children or when the kids weren't there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You act differently. And I think that's why they pulled them out a lot, to get more out of us, more anger, more hideousness.
The cast was also forced to eat lunch on the floor, despite the producers getting to use tables and chairs. Apparently the kids were starving after rehearsals, but they were told to wait until the crew got their food because they were unionised workers. The mums say that sometimes there was just nothing left to eat.
Remember we used to have to sit on the floor and eat? Oh my God, that pissed me off so bad. No, I used to have a fit about that. We were like,
That's what I'm saying. The producers had tables and chairs.
Yeah,
the kids,
we had to sit on the floor.
They made the cast eat last, and I'll never forget this. They put the crew in front of us, and the girls were so hungry, and they're like, no, our crew has to eat first. We're union.
I remember going through the food line when we weren't first, and there was nothing left.
Yeah.
Remember?
Christi has provided an example of some of the little ways that the producers tried to get a reaction out of the mums. She believes that Chloe was given the role of Marilyn Monroe in the group dance Gone Too Soon because Kelly always said that Paige looked like her, and the producers probably wanted them to fight about it. It obviously didn't work though.
I'm pretty sure that Chloe was assigned the role of Marilyn in that number simply to create drama between me and Kelly, because Kelly always said that Paige looked like Marilyn, which, look, Paige does look like Marilyn, but I'm pretty sure that that was all kind of set up to get us to fight, which we didn't fight, so joke's on you.
4. Dishonesty. It's pretty understandable that the mums would get quite angry with production, especially considering how often they were lied to. Kelly has explained that when she got her microphone fitted, she was often told that Melissa did particular things in order to get her to be mad at Melissa before filming had even begun. She says it took her a while to realise that they couldn't always trust production to tell the truth. The mums agreed that the producers were sneaky and pretended to be looking out for them as their friends. Further adding to their dishonesty, Kelly says that she was told by production that one of the crew members would bring in stoppers for Paige's chair, but then they didn't, and they left her to deal with Abby's wrath.
They would be putting my mic on me, and they would be like, oh, well, Melissa said this last night, and Melissa did this behind your back, and whatever, and I would be like, so then it started off my day, and I was pissed off at Melissa, and who even knows if Melissa did that stuff?
It took a while to figure out they don't have
my back. Yeah.
Any of our best interest,
Yeah.
and they'd befriend you and tell you, oh, I got you, I would never let anything happen to you or your kid, or you or Kendall, and then boom. So they were sneaky.
I left the studio that night at 10:30 at night, and they said, one of the PA people will go and get you those stoppers for the chair. And so I come in the next day assuming that there will be stoppers, and there wasn't. And whose fault was it? It was mine, and my kid got a chair threw at her because of something that they didn't do.
Apparently the producers once tried to get the girls to take off their competition makeup before the competition so that they could film them putting it back on again. The mums refused to let this happen. They said that the producers probably wanted to fluster them. Melissa has claimed that Chloe once crawled into the production room at the studio and got her hands on some papers written by the producers, detailing what they wanted to happen that week. Melissa says that the producers would do everything in their power to make their storylines happen.
They would try to get the kids so stressed out, and then I'll never forget the one day the kids had their makeup done, and Scott said, you all have to take your makeup off.
Yeah.
Because you have to do it on camera. We're like, nope.
And finally, we have unfair portrayals. Christi and Kelly have shared what it was like during the early weeks of filming, when the mums were really upset over how they thought their kids were going to be portrayed on television. During the 4th episode, Chloe was the only one with new choreography, so her dance wasn't up to the standard of her other solos. Christi thought that the producers were trying to spin the narrative that Chloe always lost. Christi was upset that Maddie had 2 solos because Maddie had done Cry just 2 weeks prior, plus it was a solo that she had learned before the show even started filming. Christi had asked production if Chloe could perform an old solo too, and she was told no.
All of the girls were doing their regular solos that week.
Yes.
Just with music changes and stuff. And the point wasn't 2 solos. The point was Cry had already been done with new music, so it was very well rehearsed.
She had done it weeks before.
I had said, okay, fine, but can she still do her regular solo as well, so that she actually had like a chance to do a good dance, you know? Because she was learning all new choreography, and I was told absolutely not, she cannot do 2 solos. I knew that solo wasn't going to do well, and so then it was like perpetuating this narrative that Chloe always lost.
Melissa was also upset with how she thought Mackenzie was being portrayed. She thought her "Eat Chips" line was an attempt by producers to portray her as lazy.
Melissa was really mad about that when they filmed it. We were in the dressing room, and she's like, Mackenzie said that she just wants to stay home and eat chips. They're going to make her look lazy and this and that. Like, she was upset.
So what do you guys think? Do you think these techniques are a form of emotional manipulation or a necessary part of making dramatic storylines? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.